Is here with the international papers today. I'm going to start with those rising tensions we've been reporting on today between Turkey and the Netherlands.
Well, let's look at a few headlines. Stuart, Erdogan fires up the Netherlands. That's on the front page of the Belgian paper Le Soir. The Turkish paper Hürriyet Daily has said Erdogan is saying, they're re-quoting Erdogan as saying Netherlands will pay the price, those famous words that we've been seeing all over the press this morning.
And that's perhaps really highlighting those tensions, isn't it, between Turkey's leader Erdogan and the rest of Europe. That's what the Turkish paper Hürriyet Daily says.
Well, it's really interesting because the Hürriyet Daily columnist, his name is Murat Yetkin, he says this spat has become a proxy cause for both the Netherlands and Turkey. The Netherlands is in the throes of an election this Wednesday, and the far-right leader Geert Wilders is using this issue to, quote, antagonize the atmosphere. At the same time, Erdogan's AKP party want to curry votes with Turkish expats in Europe, and they're using this spat to show their muscle as well. Now, what's interesting is a columnist from the Daily Sabah, which is sort of a more conservative Turkish newspaper, has actually come out in support of Erdogan, saying it's clear that Europe is facing a crisis of the deterioration of its sacred supreme values. And sadly, Turkey has become a, quote, victim of European misgivings and short-sightedness. Now, just to finish on this, with the Dutch paper De Telegraaf, they're taking a different spin. The paper says Erdogan screamed that the Netherlands will pay the price for its actions. Note the language, it's very strong. He screamed. They're really presenting him kind of as this hysterical, furious Erdogan, this leader who's chastising Europe now.
OK, let's move on to a completely different story. South Korea we're going to talk about now. The ousted president, Park Geun-Hye, she's finally left the presidential palace there.
Yes, and she remained irresponsible right to the end. That's what the Korea Times says, Stuart. Damning words from the paper. They report that she has now returned to her private residence after initially refusing to leave. The former president is, of course, facing charges of corruption and wrongdoing, but she says she has faith that truth will prevail. Now, the Korea Jungang Daily, another newspaper, says she finally left the Blue House, but some fear that she may have actually used those extra days to get rid of any incriminating evidence into those bribery charges. Whether that's true or not, that's a different story. But the Jungang Daily says privately she's taking this impeachment really, really hard. It really was a deep shock to her system.
Let's go to the US now. Rather a scandal brewing over the sacking of a US attorney. This is Preet Bharara.
That's right. Preet Bharara was Manhattan U.S. attorney before he was abruptly fired by Donald Trump after initially refusing to resign. Now, he rose to prominence by taking on high-profile cases, including an investigation into the New York mayor himself, Bill de Blasio, and international terrorists. But the New York Times says he's found himself on the, quote, losing end of a quintessential political decision. He was accused by many of being sort of too gung-ho as a prosecutor, actively taking on highly charged cases in public corruption, terrorism, civil rights, and, of course, the dreaded Wall Street. Now, the problem is it seems that maybe his investigation got too close to the president himself. That's why he was fired. That's what Bharara's entourage is saying. They're saying he may have been investigating Trump's earnings from foreign sources, and that's why he was abruptly fired. That's according to the Washington Examiner, which is a conservative website.
OK, continue to follow that one for you, of course. Now, do you use the internet? Who doesn't nowadays? Well, in fact, the founding father of the internet has penned rather a powerful article. This is about the misuses of the web.
Well, it's been 28 years since Sir Tim BernersLees gave us the internet. Thank you. He gave the world the internet, but it turns out he's not too happy with what we've been up to, what we've done with it, rather. The computer scientist says that he wrote an open letter, that's what the Independent is saying, in which he condemns the spread of fake news and misinformation as a result of websites that are paid on clicks. He says the information we're getting is too filtered, and people are sort of only getting information that websites think they want to see. As a result, we're seeing this rise in fake news and so forth. And he also criticizes this notion that we're all being watched all the time, be it by governments, be it by companies. And he also questions the, quote, democracy of targeted advertising.
And speaking of the internet, we're going to end with this story. The British government wants to trial mindfulness classes. Now, this is for 8-year-olds. Millions of kids thought to be facing mental health issues.
That's right. Apparently, it's becoming a big problem among younger generations, Stuart. And the British government wants to help them, in particular, deal with feelings of anxiety and stress that can implement itself in kids as young as 8. So they're going to trial what they call mindfulness and relaxation exercises. Think things like deep breathing exercises, how to deal with stress. But it's part of a trend, apparently. A private school in the UK is going to introduce empathy lessons for kids. Turns out technology is making us all narcissists. And
What a surprise. Yeah.
And we've all sort of become very independent-minded, and they want to sort of bring the central human quality of empathy back. So maybe it's time to put away those smartphones now.
Yeah, I think so. I'd go to both of them, actually. I think both would be really useful. All right, thanks, Dipti Ananka on France 24.